Tired of lagging and high ping while playing Identity V? Let's dive into some practical things you can do right now to lower that massive number. There are two aspects to consider: actions you can take at home and optimizations within the game and I guess software. Let's start with the practical ways to minimize your ping in Identity V. Grab your phone, locate that Wi-Fi logo and access the list of available Wi-Fi networks. Now, let's check if the router is emitting multiple signals, possibly labeled as example router 2.4 GHz and example router 5 GHz. If you have both of these options, it's recommended that you connect to the 5 GHz one. Why? Because the 5 GHz network offers a significantly higher connection speed between you and the router, as well as between the router and the rest of the internet. Now you've connected to the optimal signal for your router, it's time to consider its placement. Get ready to ask your mum, or I guess your partner, if you can elevate your router by placing it on top of a cupboard or even hanging it on the wall. Why? Well, Wi-Fi signals tend to work better when they are positioned above you, since the signals are usually angled downwards. Additionally, try to find a spot for the router where there are fewer walls or objects obstructing the path between your gaming area and the router. This will ensure a smoother and more reliable connection, almost as good as being plugged in. Once again, it's time to go and bother your parents and siblings, just so you can avoid getting terror shocked by a naib again who clearly swung after you'd already vaulted that window. I got a little sidetracked there. In terms of what you should ask your parents to do or not to do in this case, it's important to avoid activities like streaming, Disney Plus, or downloading large files from the internet while you're gaming. Why? Routers can become overwhelmed if there are too many simultaneous activities happening on the network. In these kind of situations, routers are usually programmed to prioritize certain tasks over others. So if your family is watching Netflix, it means that the router will usually prioritize Netflix over your solo queue match with those randoms that are clearly throwing the match right now. In some cases, some routers come with special game modes that you can turn on that will prioritize gaming over other network activities. So if you are lucky enough to have one of those settings, turn it on. Phoenix, you say, why haven't I pressed the subscribe button right underneath the video yet? Oh wait, that's not what you were asking, was it? The question you were eager to ask was, can using a VPN help you improve your ping, as many people have said in the community? The answer is a bit nuanced and complicated, because it actually depends. When you use a VPN, your data is routed through the server of the VPN provider that you're paying for. I'm assuming you're paying for one, because free ones are a little bit dubious in their security. This process encrypts your data and shields it from the network provider that you're paying for, and potentially also hackers. Kinda cool. While this added layer of security can be beneficial, it may also introduce some additional latency, potentially affecting your ping a little bit. Also, while using a VPN, your data is routed through various internet connections worldwide to reach the chosen VPN server that you've selected. This can sometimes be advantageous for gaming if you select a VPN location that's closer to the physical location of the game server that you're playing on. In the case of Identity V, in the NAEU server, that one is located somewhere in Washington, DC, as far as I can tell from the internet. By connecting to a VPN server close to the NAEU server, your data may take a shorter route or a less busy route to the destination using your VPN. If this doesn't make sense, let me give you an analogy. Imagine you are a hunter and you want to get to an exit gate as fast as possible. Now, you have two routes. One that goes straight to the gate, but is filled with dancers, slow music boxes, and acrobat mud bombs. Oh, and there's also another path that does make you have to go slightly around the previous route, but it is completely lacking any survivor slowdown effects. Which one is faster? The second one, of course. The second route is essentially like using a VPN because you're just choosing the route with less issues. But, and there's a big but, there is a possibility that using a VPN could actually result in a longer route for your data, potentially leading to worse ping. To solve this situation, I recommend you test out a VPN with a good reputation for gaming. By doing this, you'll be able to see if a VPN does help in your situation. If you're worried about VPN usage being against the rules for the game, I've actually reached out to netties to inquire about their stance on VPN usage. If I receive a response from them, I will include it in the pinned comment of this video, along with any other relevant information I gather on this topic. Let's talk about what you can do within the game of Identity V to optimize your ping. If your phone is a little underpowered, I mean maybe a mid-range or a low-end phone from this year or a couple of years ago, or maybe just an old flagship phone from like 3 or 4 years ago, it might be worth turning your graphics down. But Phoenix, you always said that turning down your graphics doesn't help your ping. Yes, yes, that is true. I do still stand by that, as your frame rate is the metric that is affected by your graphic settings. This can lead to lag, of course, but a different type of lag, not to be mistaken with ping lag. There is one exception to my rule though, and that is when your phone is struggling to keep up with the game itself. By that I mean your game keeps on freezing or overheating, and your game keeps warning you that you have a low frame rate. If that is the case, then you could be affecting your ping and possibly the ping of other players in your matches as well. This is due to the fact that your phone has to process and send data to send it to NetEase's server. And if it is barely even staying afloat because you want to see the sparkle effects on that new Enchantress S tier skin that you got, it might just have mini crashes every now and then. That means that your phone doesn't send any data to the server. And that will of course delay your ping and the ping of everybody else, as the server is waiting to find out where you are on the map. So maybe you could turn the settings down just a little bit. If you want to find out how much each graphic setting changes the appearance of the game, then you should check out the video that's on the screen right now so you can see all the differences side by side.